Hello, everyone. Welcome to Golden Shower Sunday stream, October 23rd already, 2022. Joined by my co-host Hex.
Yep.
And our guest today is Hotep Jesus.
The man, the myth.
Hotep. What's up, people? How y'all feeling, man?
Good. Thanks so much for coming. I love how you're always eating. That's like, it makes me want to eat too.
You know what it is? The only time I have to eat is when I'm like at my desk and like about to stream or like streaming, because any other time I'm like out doing something, or just working on something. So it's just it's not planned. It's not planned. It's just like one of those coincidences where my life only allows me to eat like right before I stream, after I stream, or while I stream. Well, I'm almost done now.
It's efficient. You're sitting there already. You might as well do multiple sitting activities at the same time.
Man, listen, this is my first real meal of the day. I had some eggs earlier. I coach kids soccer, my kids soccer game. So I got some leftover Maggiano's here, some ziti. This shit is rocking, though. Can I curse? Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, you can curse.
My bad.
I just got monetized and we've never had any strikes yet. Hex, can I hear you? Are you talking?
Oh yeah, no strikes. All right, let's talk about vaccines.
We'll get another episode full.
Yeah, I can't. Hex, you gotta turn I can't hear Hex as much.
Yeah, he's mad low.
That's better.
I turned him up.
Oh,
there we go.
There we go. How everyone's week been?
Not bad for the most part.
I'm on YouTube timeout. I got my first strike this week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that was
really?
That was just Thursday, right?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I didn't tell anybody until Thursday. How's it been? It feels like I'm sitting in a digital gulag.
I feel that.
And the communists have said, "Have a seat. You've been doing too much." I got suspended for the Jerome Davidson campaign ad. He had a campaign ad where like there's some raging Ku Klux Klan Democrats invading his home.
Oh, is that the pro-gun ad?
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I did a stream about it, or it was included in one of my streams, and apparently YouTube said, "Oh, you're promoting violence or something like that." So yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks YouTube for telling us what's appropriate and not, and what we can talk about or not. It's really nice.
Yeah, if I were you, just don't show anything with guns in it. No guns, no fighting. I think no fighting videos is the new thing now. And basically, just don't go against the liberal agenda, and you should be fine.
And so, I mean, you made money off of your YouTube, right? So that's 7 days with like that stream of income down, right?
Yeah.
These people.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to take a little bit of a pay cut for a week. It is what it is. I look at it as a forced vacation.
There you go.
You got to try and look at things positively. But good things have come from being banned for these few days, and really what it comes down to is I made a really cool opt-in page because being on social media and relying on social media to get in touch with your supporters is really not a good idea, because at any point they can basically just erase you. And then how do you get in touch with your supporters? So I'm building my email list. So I woke up with this really interesting epiphany. I don't know if you know anything about how the human brain works, but you got different states of the human brain, and I'll be doing a lecture on this in my next meditation series. But basically, I believe it goes beta, alpha, theta, and then like whatever the deep sleep is. But there's different like wavelengths that your brain enters, and one of them is called theta. And theta, the theta brain state is like right when you're in between sleep and awake, right? And it's a very interesting place to be mentally. I'm trying to think of an example where you're sort of like prescient, right? You're almost clairvoyant. Have you ever had that moment of like clairvoyance where like you're half asleep and you just like sense somebody coming in the room when you shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's that theta state. In the theta state, you're very clairvoyant. You're very receptive and perceptive. Yeah. So I was in the theta state, and in the theta state, this epiphany hit me. And I built the landing page out. Maybe he can bring it up on the screen. If you go to Hotep.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh no. He was frozen for a minute.
Yeah, his internet was going pretty rough there.
I know he's gonna say HotepJesus.com probably.
Yeah.
The feds got him. No, see, this is them fucking with us.
And as the king of grift and promotion here, if you want to go to HotepJesus.com, links in the description below, as well as everybody else's link on this.
Thank you. Thanks, producer.
Shout out to Paul. Also subscribe to Sibling Revelry.
Yeah, do that.
Man.
That'd be cool.
Especially
I like people
on the twits. Doesn't
even realize he's gone.
What'd you say, Hex?
Doesn't realize that he's gone. I didn't know.
Yeah, what the hell?
There he is.
There he is.
Your video was frozen for like a solid minute, but you can still hear you though, so we were letting it go, and then you just completely wiped out.
Yeah, I'm using the Brave browser, and even when I logged into StreamYard, it was kind of janky today. Anyway, go to hotepjesus.com/sub.
Yep. Links in the description, by the way.
Do you see it there?
Got it.
There you go. So I threw this opt-in page together, and basically it has like a matrix feel. So I had to figure out, what font, what colors to use. And then it took me about 24 hours to actually, I played with some CSS to get the Hotep and build to like auto type, and I have that blinking cursor there. And then the next day I kind of figured out how to do it. Anyway, so it's very imperative for creators like us to build their email list. And it's very imperative for our supporters to join that email list, because at any moment they can just zap you from, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is. And then you just completely lose contact with your people. So I'm pushing email heavy now. And this is my opt-in page. So that's some good that came out of that. Now, if you hit that, you'll go to the second step. There's a whole journey here. There you go. So now it's taking you to the next step. And this is what I built. So something good came of it, right? It's like that whole thing. You ever hear that story? Here, I'll tell this story to you. This is a very valuable lesson to people, very positive. And it helps you think through life. So my producer sent this to me the other day after I got zapped. I believe he wanted to put me in a really good mood. And I really appreciated this. So here's how the story goes. Maybe you guys have heard this before, but it goes, there's a Chinese proverb that goes something like this. A farmer and his son had a beloved stallion who helped the family earn a living. One day, the horse ran away. Their neighbors exclaimed, "Your horse ran away. What terrible luck." And the farmer replies, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." A few days later, the horse returned home, leading a few wild mares back to the farm as well. The neighbor shouted, "Your horse has returned and brought several horses with him. What great luck." And the farmer replies, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." Later that week, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the mares, and she threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The villagers cried, "Your son broke his leg. What terrible luck." And the farmer replies again, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." A few weeks later, soldiers from the National Army marched through town, recruiting all the able-bodied boys for the army. They did not take the farmer's son, still recovering from his injury. Friends shouted, "Your boy is spared. What tremendous luck." To which the farmer replies again, "Maybe so, maybe not." You see, the moral of the story is bad things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. But you have to approach them from a state of equilibrium, right? And just take it for what it is, because you never know what's going to happen next. So that's how I'm treating my YouTube ban, right? Like my YouTube ban happened and people go, "Oh, it's bad." And I'm like, maybe so, maybe not. However, I came up with this really clever idea. And when I tell you the conversion rates on this opt-in page are through the roof, they are through the roof. I've never seen any type of conversion rates like this ever. So yeah, just because my background is in digital marketing and traditional marketing and experiential marketing.
Yeah, because I remember that about you, because when you were on Rogan one time and you were talking how you had those all those account farms and stuff like back in the
I
day.
remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I was the bots, baby.
Yeah.
That's what it is. No, that's true when you get banned, because even for my own business, I don't care. I'm terrible about keeping my clients, but once I got banned with my whopping 26,000 followers on Twitter, I was like, damn it, yeah, you get erased. And I feel like a lot of people are just on Twitter or just on these things, and I'm not. I was good at Twitter, and that's what they took from me. So, but yeah, I've been collecting emails like crazy too.
Gotcha.
I'll do it for that, but not my business.
Yeah, FMU email list coming up or coming soon.
Hell yeah. I'm working on it with the website. We'll have a CRM right on the website, everything.
There you go. Yeah.
We're getting there. Like you said, it does motivate you to do things. Like, well, got to use my brain a little differently right now and try something else. So.
Yeah, hell yeah. But what you guys want to talk about today?
Whatever you want. Anything you're working on? Well, obviously you're working on.
I got some hot shit coming.
Yeah?
Yeah. I can't talk about it though.
Stay tuned, everybody.
I got a new product. So, like I said, my background's in tech. Once upon a time, I was born an entrepreneur. It's just how I was. So, give you a quick rundown of my story, my entrepreneur story. I think the first thing we got to start with is my printing business. When I was 16, I had a printing business. My dad always bought like the best in computers, and I would build computers, et cetera, et cetera. So we had at the time, scanners had first come out. Hey, appreciate you, Kenny the God. So scanners came out. We had a high-end scanner. We had a high-end printer, and we bought labels, and I started printing business cards. So this is my first business, was a printing business. And then I got into graphic design a little bit. And my first client was a kid in my high school who was a DJ. So I made his first logo and gave him his first business cards. And then I started using business cards as like this pickup thing with girls. I was like, here, take my business card. Right? I'm 16 years old doing this. And then the internet started to get a little bit better. High-speed internet started to get a little bit better. We now had cable. So the dial-up modem is starting to fade out. So and then I got into website. So we're building websites. Back in those days, we built it with raw HTML and Dreamweaver. And then one of my friends was a rapper, and he took me to the studio, and I fell in love because I just remember listening to rap music or just music, period. I'm like, how do they layer it? Like, how do you bring the vocals over the music? And how is the music? So when I saw how it was done, I fell in love. And then I started my own record label, just to fast forward a little bit. Discovered my first artist. And it's the funny how I discovered my first artist is really weird because I just kept asking people, right? And this is a lesson to people that want to be entrepreneurs, a numbers game. You're not running somebody, anybody that raps, anybody raps, anybody raps. And then one day this kid was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, give him my number. And the kid called me up, told him rap. And then he rapped for me. And I said, all right, give me something, but can you slow it down some? And then he rapped slow, and it's amazing talent. I was like, okay, I want to sign you. So I signed my first artist. Fast forward, my artist gets incarcerated, goes to jail, possession of a firearm, illegal possession of a firearm. So now then my homie Demick, who saved my life, at this point, record labels defunct, fired from my job. I was in the mortgage industry. That's how I was funding everything. And the 2008 housing crisis hit. So I thought I had a career, and then the housing crisis hit, and I no longer had a career. And I was just like, now what do I do? So Demick grabbed me. We went to Orlando, shot his music video, and on the way back, we were driving on the way back from Florida. He was like, hey, you want to form a group? So we formed a group. I created a blog. And then the blog blew up. We were, Demick was an amazing businessman. So we ended up becoming a touring act. But in the midst of all this, you pick up all these skills, right? So I had a photography business in between all of that. So I picked up photography, graphic design. I was a computer geek. And then now the internet's evolving. At one point, took over MySpace completely, was killing MySpace. I remember we had this adder bot. And the adder bot would do all sorts of interesting things, and add friends automatically and like pictures automatically, all these interesting things. So we were killing it over there. I was killing it on Black Planet, and then Twitter comes about. And then my friend Demic's brother was like, "Yo, you should get on Twitter." I'm like, "I'm not joining anything named Twitter. It sounds stupid." And then I got over myself, because I always tell myself, like, when people tell you things, you should just look into it. So I got over myself, looked into it. 2009, I created a Twitter account, um put my blog on there, built that blog up to a team of 7. And then that's when I got my big break, 50 Cent, right? I started working with 50 Cent. I worked with a startup, and a startup had 50 Cent as a influencer and investor. So great things, did that for about 2.5 years. Then I launched my own marketing agency. And then I realized I didn't like launching my own marketing agency, because launching a marketing agency is basically either you scam people, or you work with like super big clients, right? Like Havas and Droga 5. These are like some big ad agencies. And I just didn't have the personnel or the budget to be at the Droga 5 level. And then at the lower level, basically scam people. I call it a scam. It's not really a scam, but basically what you do is you only work with successful businesses. I didn't like that. I wanted to work with, mom and pop, small startups, and then help them grow. Like, that was fun. Like, I want to use my creativity. I don't want somebody to just give me a budget. I take 15% and just throw the rest into Facebook ads. That was really boring to me. So I moved into the tech field and started marketing apps. Then I, picked up a whole bunch of digital marketing skills, so on and so forth. And then Black Lives Matter came around, and this is about 2014, 2015. I was like, yo, Black Lives Matter is a scam, way before Trump even announced he was going to run. I was like, yo, Black Lives Matter is a scam. This is some LGBT rules. It has nothing to do with black people. This is Marxist socialism, da, 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 da. And then Trump comes about. So during the years of Trump, 2016 to 2020, I basically put myself back in school, autodidact style, and researched Russian history and economics. And then I wrote my book, The Patriot Report: Unmasking the Conspiracy in Money and War, which is my dissertation following my 4 years of putting myself through my own university, which is a breakdown on central banking, starting from the very first central bank, John Law. Or it's not the very first central bank. It's the first one that started practicing fractional reserve banking on a large scale. Is John Law out of France. He had took his idea to Scotland, England, the Queen over there, et cetera, et cetera. Then he took his thing over to France. And some people may know this because this has to do with the Mississippi Purchase, right? I'm sorry, the Louisiana Purchase. It was called the Mississippi Company. And the Louisiana Purchase was one of the acquisitions. So he was practicing a whole bunch of fractional reserve banking. It was basically a shell company, like one of the first shell companies ever. Obviously, we know that Louisiana is nothing but swampland. So the company went under, people chased them out of town, and that was history. And then I I went in a deep dive into, who's financing the Kings, right? Because cash rules everything around me, says Wu-Tang Clan. So then I started researching, like, who's financing these kings, who's financing William of Orange, et cetera, et cetera. And then I tracked those guys down, and I showed you, like, here's the people financing these guys. And then I followed the money all the way into the United States at the first bank, which starts with Robert Morris. And there's this quote from George Washington when it comes to the Revolutionary War. And George Washington needs funding to fund his military, and they're broke. And he says, "Send for Robert Morris." So they sent for Robert Morris. He was the money man back then, and that's when they set up the Bank of North America. And then the rest is history. It's in my book, or you can get the information for free on my YouTube channel. Just type in the Patriot Report, Hotep Jesus, or just go on my channel and find the Patriot Report. So, the thing is, Scott Adams said this about me. He says, yo, this kid, Hotep Jesus, he's got an amazing skill stack. So over the years, although I don't have a college degree, I've continued to add to my skill stack. I've continued to educate myself, self-educate myself, and, join the freedom fight, right? And use that to unlock people. So now that leads me to my new product, right? So what is my brand about? My brand is about thinking for yourself, intellectualism. And some people have, after my first Joe Rogan interview, there was a huge publication that wrote about me, and they called me an intellectual. And I said, yeah, that's exactly it. So my new pill is going to make people smarter. Damn, I just told you what my new product was, and I wasn't supposed to.
It could it could be like that could be like red pilling. You could say it was something like that, and not literally.
Yeah, so I might as well just tell you the whole details. Yeah, the pill's gonna be red.
Let's go.
So you heard it first. You guys just got the exclusive. Hotep Jesus is coming out with a red pill. Oh man, I just gave up the beans. That's an FMU exclusive. I just fucking hold on.
Love it.
I don't know what happened. Again? All right, he's back.
It won't let me click off the screen. If you click off the screen, StreamYard does some janky shit. Anyway, so you guys got the exclusive. Congratulations. Nobody's supposed to know about it now. All 20-some people that are in here are the only ones that know it. So you guys should feel special. And don't tell anybody. If you know this, don't run around and tell everybody. You're not supposed to know this. This is top secret. This is between us, the FMU family, and whoever's watching this.
Don't tell anybody.
It's confidential. It's top secret. Keep it between us.
I'm glad you could. One of your best skill, or the skill I appreciate, is that you can talk and you're so easy to listen to, and like you're so engaging how you talk. So I'm glad you're being able to share that skill with the world, especially because I could listen to you talk about anything, really.
Thank you. My dad told me one day, he said, you're going to be, you're such a politician. And he wanted me, he said, you're such a lawyer, you're such an attorney, Because I always, came up with excuses for things, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, sign up for my mailing list. Absolutely.
Thanks,
ASAP. HotepJesus.com/sub. But yeah, what's funny about me? 11th grade, I had I'm giving you guys all the gems today. I was saving this for the Oprah's couch.
Well, this is pretty close. This is so close to Oprah.
I don't think I'll ever be on Oprah, considering my political affiliation. So yeah, we had a presentation, and make a long story short, I broke down into tears. I started crying. That wasn't the first time. That was the second time I got in front of a room of people and started crying. The first time was in my grandma's church. She wanted me to do Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. I got to the first line and broke down crying. Moral of the story is I have stage fright, like crazy stage fright. In fact, the third time in my life where it struck was my last Joe Rogan interview. My last Joe Rogan interview, I got hit with stage fright. All 3 hours, completely terrified. Really odd moment for me. And I understood why I got that, why I had that stage fright. It's just my tactics going into interview was just all off, but I learned my lesson. But yeah, I had stage fright all my life. And then I remember I broke it when I became a touring artist. We had a show, about 1,000 people sitting in front of the stage. Demick used to get us booked for all the dope shows, man. And it wasn't our turn to go on yet. And the DJ was like hyping the crowd up, throwing away giveaways. So he comes to the backstage and there's like a box of shirts. He's like, yo, can you hand me some shirts out of that box? So I grab a bunch of shirts and I toss them to him. He's like, thanks. And he runs back out on stage. And I was like, I have to get rid of this nervous energy now. So I grabbed the box and I threw it on stage and I ran out on the stage and I just started like throwing t-shirts into the audience and going crazy. So then when it was our turn to go, I sort of settled down and I had the hypeness. So now I know exactly how to get over stage fright. There's certain things that you have to do as far as preparation right before. And you got to just kind of get like really loose. So, with all that being said, how to be a better speaker. You have to listen to yourself, which I hate doing, but you have to listen to yourself. You have to learn to listen to yourself while you're talking and listen to yourself after you're talking, watch the replay and try to avoid redundant statements, try to avoid try to avoid long thinks. Although sometimes I take long thinks trying to make sure I say the right thing and I'm quite succinct and punctual and pithy at the same time. But, it's a practice. So I took a year off from YouTube, which really hurt my engagement, but I took a year off and just practiced speaking in front of the mirror because I didn't like the way I was speaking. I sounded very uneducated. My words weren't coming together. My vocabulary wasn't as good as I had a great vocabulary. I just wasn't able to call upon it quickly while I was speaking. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and then I spent a lot of time reading, and reading helps you speak better. Obviously, because all these words are running around in your head while you're reading, and they're easy to recall as long as they're on the tip of your frontal cortex. So yeah, that's it's a process for me to become a better speaker, to become a better orator. So that's why YouTube is great for me, because if I stream every day, it's a practice for me. I don't stream every day. That's another thing. Like the last Joe Rogan interview, I hadn't streamed for like a week before that, and my speech was just off. Also, I have a stutter, so if sometimes if I can't get my thoughts together, I'll stutter. So I was able to get over that at some point. So it's a practice, and being on YouTube all the time daily helps me become a better speaker, but it's a consistent practice. It's a thing you have to do over and over again. Otherwise, it's a muscle, like, just like a muscle, you got to exercise, you just got to exercise it.
Yeah. I even noticed just in regular conversations and stuff, like, okay, I had 2 years locked down at home. Basically, I wasn't out a lot, and it really stunted my conversation skills from compare. Just I was just online a lot. I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I was making my own stupid videos and stuff. But yeah, like it really is a practice. You have to keep up with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
there's like
just it's
comedians who fix stutters too. Like it's good just when you used to have a stutter to just talk all the time and like figure out
mhm.
patterns to get over it.
It's about taking your time to stutter. My mom has it. Very intelligent woman, master's degree. But when we get overexcited, what happens is 3 or 4 words run together in our mind, so we stutter. And I still do it sometimes. Like when I'm coaching the kids, if I think faster than I talk, I'll stutter. So streaming allows me to gather my thoughts and speak in streams. You almost have to speak like how you read out loud. When you read out loud, you don't say the word that you're looking at. You actually have to read ahead and let your mouth do the catching up. So if I'm saying is and the next word is whatever, my brain's already processed that next word. So I'm speaking it, but the eyes move faster than the mouth. So the same thing when you speak, you have to sort of have that same flow. The other problem I have too is I have divergent thoughts or multiple thoughts. So one thought to go that way. The divergent thought is crazy because one thought to go that way and the other one to go in the opposite direction. I'm objective. So sometimes I have to pause and say, okay, which one do I want to say first? Or sometimes I have to just pick one quickly, because what'll happen is I'll like my brain will spaz out and I'll forget both of them. Like, wait, what was I gonna say? It's really weird. But my new pill helps with that actually, because I used to be a heavy weed smoker, and that completely destroys your brain for whatever reason. Um, so the new pill has been like clearing my mind. It's 100% herbal. You guys are gonna love it. And yeah, so I've been taking these pills, and it reduces it really, so your gut is your first brain. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah, your gut
Or at least
health.
that's what they say. Yeah. So it's going to clear up your gut health, and that's going to help you think better. But then also it has other properties that sort of ignite your GABA receptors, et cetera, et cetera. But it's 100% herbal. It's an amazing product, and I've been using it. It's been like, and I say it's making me smarter. Like, it's not making me smarter, but it's making my brain fire faster. It's making the neurons in my brain fire faster. It's making things catch on. I'm able to focus longer, concentrate better, and it's improved my speaking because my brain just works better. And then finally, like, it's just a mood booster. Like, I don't feel like I need to go to weed to feel better. It's just like my mood is just naturally up all the time, and I can just go. So it's a great. I can't wait to release it.
I'll definitely try it. I've always been on like supplements and stuff. And guess what? I mean, this is partially luck, but I've never been on prescriptions or had any medical issues, or you know what I mean? I'm like, well, maybe there is some correlation because especially the brain stuff too. But I don't want to get Alzheimer's. So anything that says it will help me like not get
Right.
Alzheimer's, which I'm sure your pill might have stuff for that kind of thing too, the cognitive stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, when you're pushing supplements, you're not allowed to say you treat any diseases because these diseases are like trademarked or whatever. But it's gonna clear up your mind to help prevent some of these things. I can't say it's gonna cure. It's not gonna cure. I don't think so. But it's just prevention, right? Good overall brain health is very important. And somebody who relies on their brain. I'm a chess player, and so I rely on my brain a lot. And it's about 4 hours of practice I have to do every day, 2 with the coach and 2 by myself. So it's almost impossible when I'm high. In fact, if I get high, my chess score will drop at least 50 to 100 points. I find more interesting moves, but I also forget moves and forget combinations, because you sort of have to, when you play chess, you have to keep certain combinations in your head, right? So you're like, okay, if I do this, 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 and this, okay, that's one combination. Okay, what's the other one? What, this, 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 and this. But when you're high, you're like, wait, what was that other combination?
Right.
And it's timed, right? Like the clock is ticking. So now you have to like calculate that back over. And if you have to do that 3 or 4 times, it's like a minute's gone, and it's just like, So, since I've been taking these pills, my chess score, I haven't lost a game in a while, actually. And when I connected my my database to Aim Chess, and Aim Chess says I'm underrated. So I've been playing great chess. I've been beating guys that are higher rated than me. And I think it's just better brain health. But again, like, when you play chess, your brain is everything, man. Without it, you're just gonna miss out.
Yeah, and once you lose it, man.
Yeah, and that's my biggest fear, man. I've seen my grandfather on his last years, brain just went, hallucinating, seeing things that weren't there, couldn't process, couldn't remember people. And when I saw that, I was just like, I never want that to happen to me. So, yeah.
I used to work in memory care, and it's like, obviously everyone's different at different levels and stuff, but it was just like, oh man, like, I know it sounds cruel, but if this ever happens to me, I don't think I want to go through with this. But what was actually kind of beautiful about it? It's like some of them are farther along than others, and they're elderly as well. So like some of them would be mostly in a vegetative state, and then I could put music on, which was all big band stuff for them. They would perk up, and some of them would start singing along. Like these people would never say anything, but the way music stays in our brains, like all the old songs we would see. It was a great job for me. I played bingo with them and walked around with them and listened to music with them. So yeah, I was like, but I also don't want that to happen to me, please.
Yeah, music, man. It's that connectedness to moments in your life. Like you play a song and it just automatically transports you to that moment in life.
Yeah.
Music is interesting like that, man. I remember time increments or memories based upon music. Like, oh, that's the year DMX came out, or that's when Lauryn Hill dropped, her first solo album, Miseducation, right? It's funny how you connect those things to third parties, right? Because everything's people. Relative.
Yeah. Oh yes. Before someone had made a comment just about like the speaking skills, like how so many of these kids are going to be screwed because of all the COVID crap, and just like they didn't even have a chance to hit those milestones at a very like important time, and they don't care. Well, I mean, they do care. It's all by design, but
that's part of it, to turn us into antisocial beings.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. The people that I think some people call them the elite, I call them the ruling class. There's nothing elite about them. They're organized. They create organizations. Many of them have 3 letters. And that's really what it comes down to, is the fact that us as the populace are disorganized and they're organized. That's why we created organizations called Hotep Nation, an organization. So the more people organize, the better off we'll be. And I don't like to phrase it in the fact of fighting against the system or taking down the system. I'm not into that. I think that's whack. I think it's player hating. And the fact that, if we look at the work that the Rothschild family put in, and the work that he put into his sons, and the way, who was it? Was it Nathan? I want to say Nathan. He wouldn't even buy his son clothes. He made one of his sons. he made him wear his sister's dresses. You know, like if you want, like it's crazy how they treated their children. But it was like you had to work for everything, which I think was a valuable lesson. It makes you stronger. But you know, if you spent your time in the 1700s, 1800s taking over the world, you deserve every piece of the pie you get, because that's what you decided to do. And if we want to be subject to it, we can stay subject to it, or we can relieve ourselves from the systems and we can go to alternative economies, parallel economies. And I think that's what it comes down to. You know, we've a lot of people organized around crypto. That's great. Um, you know, I'm working with an organization called Syscoin, doing great things, right? So it's about like, what are the organizations you're connected to and what are you guys doing? And that's the focus, as opposed to focusing always on the enemy. You always see that with black people too, right? That you know, when you talk about the black struggle and all this stuff, and I'm pro-black, and it's like being pro-black is just like anti-white. That's it's not even. You know, it's like can we have a conversation that doesn't include white people if we're gonna be pro-black? You know, because pro-black should not have any other group in mind. It should be, what are we doing today? What are we doing today to get from 0 to 1? And that's it. And then we can consider competition in the conversation, but we still have to set our own goals. You know, you still got to do your own SWOT analysis, and I think that's the problem. I see a lot of parallels between the conservative movement, the libertarian movement, and the black struggle movement. And you know, here's the thing. It comes down to the grift, okay? And I wrote this in my book, Dominate Twitter. I wrote a book on marketing. It's called Dominate Twitter. And in my book, I basically said, you know, you need an enemy. If you want to start a cult, you need an enemy. You need somebody to blame problems on. So, you know, that's what a lot of people will do. They'll go, hey, look, you know, the evil Democrats. Here, look, the evil Democrats. And then they fundraise off of that. And it's all fine and dandy, but you got to have a plan. You got to have a mission. You got to take people somewhere if you're going to use that, right? And then the same thing with the black movement. It's just like, you know, you got a lot of race pimps. It's like, oh, white people, white people, white people. And it's like, dude, you work for white people. What are you talking about? Like,
Exactly.
like, and not just any white people, like upper echelon white people. Like, you have a cushy job at Huffington Post. You have a cushy job at CNN or some other liberal funded organizations. It's like, what are you talking about? You know, but that's the problem. You know, everybody's focused on the enemy. Nobody's focused on themselves. You got to take that energy and send it inwards and stop and consider the enemy at a later date.
No,
Yeah,
I've been struggling. Oh, go ahead, Hex. Sorry.
No, that right there is what I've been trying to tell people. Like, Jess knows I've been talking about that type of stuff on Twitter, and sometimes a lot of people get it, but sometimes they get attacked for it because, again, just like you were saying, there's always got to be some type of enemy for people to blame. And it's like, exactly like you said, just forget them for a minute. Work on yourself. Work on the people you care about.
Yeah. We can, you know, if we lean on each other, we can go really far. If we're too divided. You know, the right is divided. You know, you got conservatives and you got conservative Inc. Then you got your fake conservatives and your real conservatives. But at the end of the day, the Democrats control all of that. And I'm going to tell you how. People wake up, the influencers wake up, and they don't enter social media with an agenda. They enter social media very passively. They wait, they see what the Democrats do today, and then the Democrats do something stupid because they're always doing something stupid. And then everybody jumps on it and goes, hey, look what the Democrats did. Look, they got 25 genders. Or, hey, look at this. And all the influencers get rich, but the people are just retweeting, and it's great entertainment, but nothing's getting done. It's just entertainment. It's just distractions. But everybody's waiting around for the left to dictate what's the agenda of the day. The hashtags that come out, the trending topics that come out, they're all driven by entertainment and the left. I want us to organize one day and start a hashtag and say, I don't know, Jesus is king, run it. Then the next day, what's the next message we're going to put out? And then make that hashtag and really start to, you know, organize and make things that you like trend. And when I say trend, I don't only mean on Twitter in the trending topics. I mean, trend as in make it a trend in our culture, make it a trend in our lives. This is the way we live. This is the way we act. This is the way we think. And you know, Andrew Breitbart, everybody knows culture, politics downstream from culture. So let's focus on the culture and what we want to push out there in the message of culture.
Yeah, and I think you've said something about this too. Like the conservative, everyone on the right will just will get outraged about something and share it, and that's like half of the spells. Basically, the propaganda is just getting all the people angry about it to share it because there's so much shit I would never see except for that it got shared by someone that I know or agree with, and I'm like,
Right,
this
exactly.
is stupid. Why are we like? I love what Libs and TikToks is doing, but I'm like, these are fools with phones who no one would ever have paid attention to them anyway. So why are we paying attention to them now? Because they're just like, obviously, if they're doing bad shit, then whatever, go get them. But it's like we don't need to like make a big deal out of some of this stuff because that's what makes it a big deal, is making it a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I love defiant L's. I love Libs of TikTok.
Yeah,
I love that.
them.
It's pointing out all those contradictions, defiant L's. Beautiful. Need that. I always share their stuff on Instagram. But then there's a void. What did we wake up and share that nourished us, right? So you'll often see me come on Twitter and I'll find something to have gratitude for. So that's how I begin my day. What am I thankful for? And then I'll shout out whoever I'm thankful for. So I set the agenda of the day in many different ways. And I also make people see the man in the mirror. So I'll ask this common question. You know, you guys may have seen me type this out, but I type in, what did you argue with strangers about today?
Oh yeah, yep, I know about that. Yep.
Right. Another one is, who did you give your energy to that didn't deserve it? And it's like, okay, fine. We've given some energy to highlight some of the evil stuff that comes from the left, but let's balance it out. Let's find some good things that are happening on the right, and let's highlight those. Let's start sharing the good work that's being done. Schools are corrupt. Let's start sharing some homeschooling, information, some homeschooling pods and programs. That's what we do. Hotep Nation, we're not a 501c3 nonprofit, and we support the homeschooling community. Right now, we're sponsoring 11 kids to get into tech. So, and we've raised about $12,000, nothing crazy. And we're looking to grow and support more. And we did that with only $1,500. We put, was it 15? No, it's probably more close to 3, maybe. And we put a bunch of kids into this program. So, it's like, put the work out there, highlight the good work that's being done. And if you're gonna talk shit about the Democrats, that's cool. But then balance it out and find something positive to say about a Republican or conservative or somebody on the ground doing some good work. We got to do both. It's got to be some balance.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because otherwise, the left just wakes up and they create the agenda. And if you let the left create the agenda, you'll be all the way in West Bumblefuck. Right? Like,
right.
Promised land is over here. And you woke up, hopefully in that theta state, you did something magical, and you started heading in the right direction. And then the witch comes out of the forest and says, "Hey, over here, I got some candy." And then you go over there, and next thing you know, you're in fucking La La Land with 500 genders. Like, no, leave that alone. Come back over here. The oasis is this way. You guys ever watch Naked and Afraid?
Yeah, I love Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my shit.
And they don't even win anything. They just do it to say they did it, right? They don't get any money, I don't think.
That's wild to me. That is so wild to me. But the more I watch it, the more I want to do it.
Right.
You should do it.
You
should do it.
I would love to do it. I can't do the Amazon. It's just too many goddamn bugs, and I'm not doing the bayou. It's just too much damn water. Too much water. I need my feet to be dry at some point.
Oh yeah, like when it rains like crazy on some of them, and it's just they're wet and it's like a little chilly the whole time. Oh my god. Oh.
The rain, the rain I look at is sort of a blessing. I think a lot of people don't take advantage of the rain. They need to be collecting that shit.
Right.
and they're usually like this. It's like, no, go out and collect it. You're gonna need it in 2 days, bro. Like, stop it.
See, look, you got to get on. You already know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna take some survival courses. That show has motivated me. I'm gonna take the family. We're gonna go out. We're gonna take some survival courses. I want to learn how to make some fire with the sticks. You know, they do the little Native American thing. Yeah, I wanna learn how to make fire with some sticks and practice that. Because I figure if I can make the fire with some sticks, then I can bring a pot and a machete, and then I'll be good. I could do 21 days. I can definitely do 21 days. I'm definitely gonna have to like stock up on fat before I go. Like eat a lot of food.
Yeah, because
Right.
you're
They be
pretty
losing-
lean, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely bulk up a little bit before I go. And yeah, because some of those people after it's done, man, they lose 20, 30 pounds. They're like skinny as hell. So, you know, because your body's gonna start to cannibalize itself. But you know, for me, I think it's about the challenge, but also getting over the fear of things, right? Like,
Right.
okay, that's a snake. I ain't fucking with snakes, but I'm hungry. I'm about to grab him by the head and he's dinner tonight. That's a challenge I would love to see myself overcome. You know, so I'm thinking about it. I probably won't do it because I don't have time to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't getting paid. I ain't got time to be losing money.
There's like people who've done it multiple times just for to say they did it.
Well, I think you kind of got to turn it into money, right? Because if you do it, now you can sell survival courses. Like, here's how you to survive in the wilderness. Everybody's gonna sign up. Like that one dude with the beard who he did the Amazon. Oh man, him and the other girl came back. The one dude quit before he even started. Another dude couldn't make it. Then somebody left after 7 days, and they called them two in. They came in and they crushed it. 21 days, they killed it. Him and the other girl.
On the resume.
Yeah. I love that show. But I think everybody needs to learn some survival skills because the commies are coming, man.
Yep.
And you might need to learn how to make a fire real fast or something like that.
Yeah, it's real. Libertarian Squirrel in the chat was saying his wife's a teacher going back to homeschooling, and all she does is tell people to homeschool. That's great. And she sells homeschool materials so people could teach chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so many people of this last year who are like don't have kids, but were like kind of on the fence, whatever, you know, public school, whatever. Like they have pushed everybody like to just hating them. And like now I'm like, what the hell? Like, how did I get through public school and turn out decent, you know? But like now I'm like, get your kids out of there. Like, what the hell? And I used to not like the voucher issue as like a non-child having property owner, but now I'm like, fuck it, drain the system, get all that money back and take it to better places, give it to better teachers. Like, I don't even care at this point. Just get them out of there because it's the Marxists, all like everything you've studied and talked about before. It's just like it's so obvious what they're doing.
I mean, it's like you send your kids to school to be taught by idiots.
Yeah.
Like
usually women who want kids really bad half the time. You know, that's what I feel like a lot of teachers are.
Yeah, but you know, when I you know, for example, I got two sons. One of them, he gets in trouble with four of the teachers, and the other teacher's like, oh, he's an angel. And it's just like, okay, so what are you four doing wrong? Right?
Right.
Because it ain't him, right? It's you. Like he doesn't respect you. You're not relating to him, or you're probably just a bitch, right? I remember when I was in school, I did really well with the strict teachers and the teachers who were just, you know, you could just tell they were slackers, right? Because the strict teachers weren't strict because they were strict. They were strict because they're disciplined people. And the other teachers, you kind of tell, like, you know, their clothes are kind of dingy, not ironed, and, you know, they're just coming to do a job. And as a kid, you don't recognize that consciously. You recognize it subconsciously and you act out and you feel like you can get away with more. You're not as focused. But I remember I had this real schoolhouse teacher. She was one of those ladies with gray hair, always had her hair pinned up in a bun, super old school, always had the knee-length skirt, and was very strict. And all the kids used to complain about her. And everybody was like, oh my God, her class is so hard. I finished her class top 2, okay? In 7th grade, I finished her class top 2, all four marking periods. And she loved me and I loved her. And people used to be like, Brian, how could you like her? But she was intelligent. She knew I was the type of kid that was, get distracted. So she sat me in front and center where everybody's behind me. So I couldn't get distracted. All I had was her in front of me. And she taught me English. She made me really good at English. My mom was also an English teacher as well. She taught English in college. She was an English professor. But this is one of those teachers. My social studies teacher, he was a NFL coach, and he was a football coach for our high school team, and very strict. I didn't do any of the homework, but I got top 2. I was me and my best friend finished his midterm and final with the top 2 grades in our class for social studies. And he told me, he's like, "Yeah, you could have got an A in this class. You didn't do your homework." I'm like, "Yo, I got an A in your test. Why'd you give me homework?" And he just looked at me like, "You're just too smart for your own good." But I was that type of kid, but the teachers are idiots, man. They're like, I can pick up on certain things, and it's just like, and I'm talking to them or I'm seeing these teachers and I'm just looking, I'm like, "You're just a fucking idiot," and you can't help, you can't help being an idiot. You're just dumb. You're just stupid. And the thing is, that's the type of people that end up in education because they failed at everything else in their life. So it was like, "Oh, I'm just going to fall back and be a teacher because I can't do anything else with my pointless degree." Right. So, and then you have very few people who actually go into education because they actually care, because that was their dream. That's what they wanted to do. Now that's different. Like when I was younger, teachers were so horrible. I said, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher because these teachers are trash. It didn't work that way because they say you need to have a degree in order to be a teacher, which I think is a terrible prerequisite. I think you need a whole bunch of psychology skills, the ability to be personable. It should be like a personality test over anything, because some of these people don't have the personality to be teachers. They don't have the discipline to be teachers. So that's the things I would be looking for, because the teachers aren't teaching anything. They're like reading out of a book, right? And they don't really know the material themselves. I remember I went to a parent teacher conference. There was some conflicts happening with my kid, and then the teacher wanted to talk history, and I started telling a whole bunch of shit. Her head was spinning because I study real history. Her head was spinning like, "All right, you can go home, Mr. Sharp. You can go home." Yeah, you're done with me, right? But also it's like this really weird thing, right, where they have a quota to meet to put kids in special ed. So a lesson I tell people is, do not allow the school to test your kid. And I learned this lesson from Dr. Umar Johnson. Do not allow them to test your kid, because once they test your kid, they have the ability to put them in special ed. So my daughter's going to this all-white school. There was some sort of racism in the school, whatever. You know how white liberals are. They always they feel like you're lesser than and you can't learn or whatever. So she tells me, "Hey, your daughter's having trouble learning. And, we think we want to test her." I'm like, "You're not testing my daughter." "Well, she might need more help." I'm like, "Give her more help." "Oh, well, we'll test her." I say, "No, I'm not going to test her." So make a long story short, she says, "If I give your daughter a puzzle, I don't think she'd be able to solve it." And I know my daughter, she's a puzzle beast. So I say, "All right, go ahead, get a puzzle right now. Give it to her." My daughter, she goes, "Okay, hold on, let me give her a harder one." Give her a harder one. "All right, you can go home, Mr. Sharp." "Yeah, I know. The problem is you're a fucking idiot and you don't know how to teach. It has nothing to do with my daughter. My daughter doesn't relate to you. She feels intimidated by you. She doesn't fit in a school full of white kids who ostracize her. That's the problem. It's a personality clash." And my daughter now, she graduated high school, all A's, and she's in college to be an architect right now. And this is the same people that wanted to put her in special ed. She's a brilliant fucking kid, super smart. There's been, times around the house I'm like, "Baby, what should I do?" And she tells me. I've brought whole marketing plans to her, like, "Yo, look at this and tell me what's wrong." And she goes and looks at it. "That's messed up. Don't do that. Do this." I remember one time I had my YouTube channel, right? And I bought a new overlay. I spent like $40 on Fiverr to have somebody give me this nice digital overlay. And then I replayed one of my episodes on the big screen TV, and my daughter walks in the room. She goes, "Too much yellow." And I'm just like, I was so defeated because I just spent the money and I thought it was the best thing ever. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, you're right, it is too much yellow, but we got to learn to defer to kids, man. Trust the kids, believe in the kids. They know better than us a lot of times. We have to trade their clairvoyance and their youth for our wisdom and our experience and swap back and forth where, okay, we've been here, we've seen this before, but here's some things we've never seen before. And those things we need to give to kids and get their feedback on. So I brought a bunch of things to my daughter, copy. I remember my other son, he's very much like me, very creative. And I couldn't think of a piece of copy to promote a product. And I'm like, I need a line or something to go right here. And I'm like, here, take this. You have an hour. He comes back with like 5 examples. And I literally used one. Like, oh, this is a good sales line. Wow, you're good at writing ads. My guy. So we got to trust the kids. If you trust the kids, great things happen, man.
Yeah, trust them and guide them, but don't give in to their, like, if they want to dress up as a cat in 7th grade or like,
I'll accept the cat. I'll accept dressing up like a cat. You just ain't about to dress up like a whole nother gender.
Right.
Now that's where we got problems.
Yep.
Yeah, especially and then the drag stuff too. I don't have to get into it, but it's just like, what we don't need. They're like, well, we need to tell kids there's such a thing as drag. I'm like, no, you don't. I didn't learn about drag till I was an adult, and guess what? It did not mess me up at all. Like, it's just so weird how they want to push it on them. Like, and I got it from like the very conservative side growing up a little bit. I know it's the whole, it is the like pendulum to some extent too, but it's like, okay, stop. Like they're just, I don't get it. I don't get how they keep going that far.
You know what it is? This even goes back to pre-World War II Germany. When you look at pre-World War II Germany, as the hyperinflation's about to hit, what you had a whole lot of? Debauchery, pornography, and cross-dressing, transgenderism. You had a lot of that in Germany. Greece, Rome. Yeah. When you start venturing into lechery, expect treachery. Oh, that rhymed. I like that. Yeah, when your nation starts to head towards lechery, expect treachery. Or if your nation is experiencing lechery, then it's probably because of treachery. The people at the top, they're into that stuff. That's the lifestyle that they're into. And when you start adding kids to the mix, they're into that too.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's what they're especially into. I feel like that's why they that's it for them, man.
When you look at ancient Greece, what ancient Greece considered homosexuality is different than what we consider it. For example, if you had 2 grown-ass men together, that was considered homosexuality. Okay? Now, if an older man took a young boy and deflowered him, is the term that they used, that was perfectly normal. He was raising the boy up into manhood. So you have this man-boy love happening, and it's only frowned upon if you do it with somebody your own age. So what do you think's happening today? This is the fall of Greece. This is the fall of Rome. We gotta get back to Jesus. Gotta get back to the church. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you, our number one weapon against all of this is Islam. Oh man, did you see the video where they was in that hearing, and the Islamic people was like, "We don't want pornography in our schools." Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh man, this was great.
Pause if you can find that.
It's a whole Islamic community. And they're pushing back against the, putting all this type of literature in school, sex literature in grade school.
What the why does anyone in their mind be like, yeah, we need cartoons of people giving each other blowjobs for kids? Like, how do you even get to that point where you're justifying that or validating it?
It's absolutely horrendous. Is that the clip there? Play that.
To die down right now. The crowds are thinning out. I want to give you a live look inside as they wrap things up. There were a few tense moments and heated exchanges tonight as they really got into this pretty contentious issue. I want to have you guys take a look at that really quick.
So let's stop pretending this is about
Yeah, this the
protecting
one.
children from books. We all know this is about erasing our LGBTQ students and staff. It was literally written on signs.
Can't erase you,
on Monday.
babe.
If parents do not want their children to read a book, they should not allow them to do that. But to force their views of one group of citizens on the rest of Dearborn doesn't work either. This is what Hitler did. And we all know how that worked out.
A normal, psychologically sound and stable mind would come to a conclusion that that specific material is nothing but sexually explicit.
To the LGBT community, the majority of parents are not here to attack your right to exist in a free society. Criticism of age-inappropriate content is not criticism of the LGBT community.
Hi guys, tonight's meeting was
See, they
a
tell on
continuation.
themselves. They tell on themselves. Because where you see the sexually explicit material in front of children, why are gay people upset when we bring that up? They telling on themselves. Because who you think is, you know what I'm saying? That's what the people are.
Or like groomer on Twitter. If you're not a groomer, why do you care if people are using the, that's why I think my big account got taken down was for groomer. And it's like, why would, if it doesn't apply to you, then why do you care? But
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They guilty. They tell on themselves. It's like, what is this piece of sexually explicit content in a book got to do with your sexuality? Oh, I know why. Because you're broming.
Yep.
Right. Correct. And the Islamic community is not having it. Only Allah can save us. Bring the hijab back.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
do white girls look good in a hijab? Would I look pretty in one of those?
White women wore hijabs.
Yeah, did they look good? I just want to look. Is
Let's
that your whole
go.
face or just your eyes? That's your whole face shows, right?
Let's go back into European history. We do understand that God-fearing women, especially the Orthodox Church, women didn't come out outside the house with their hair covered unless their hair was covered. That's they had some sort of scarf over their head. It say it in the Bible. A woman's not supposed to come outside the house with her hair showing, right? Yeah. This is in the Bible. But when you go look, even if you look at the 20s, you always see even men come outside the house, they have a hat on. Women come outside the house, they have a hat on. You see that a lot. And culture now is exposing the crown. Everybody walks around with their crown exposed and their hair all out. I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I walk around with my hair out, but I always try to keep my crown covered. But it comes back to the fact that the hijab is not exclusive to Islam. Christian women walked around with their hair covered. Why? What is it the nuns is wearing? That ain't the same thing as a hijab when you see a nun with her hair covered, right? Yeah. This is very ancient culture and customs.
Yeah. Although my my Halloween nun costume is, it's a little bit more revealing than
See,
I'm pulling that out this Saturday. I know. But that's
but the devil.
We're over an hour, Hotep. I don't know if you need to get going, but I was gonna ask, you're like you're not Mises completely, but you fuck with the Mises a little bit, right?
I fucks with the Mises. Yeah. They
Let's
cut
go.
me a check.
Yeah, that's because you did speaking engagements. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
Well, I had one.
Oh yeah, that was California. Was that?
Yeah, California. Yeah, they paid me to speak. Anybody paid me, I like for the most part. But no, I think I like. So when I talked about organization before, right? Mises did what you're supposed to do. They started chapter by chapter. They got a chapter in all 50 states. They organized and they got the people out of the box that they wanted to get out of the box, right? So now they're running the show over there at the Libertarian Party. I love Mises. I might not agree with everything everybody says over there, but they got my full support. Now, next election, I'm going for Trump. I'm sorry, Dave Smith. I love you, Dave Smith. You're just not gonna, you're not gonna win. So, I got to go with the winner. So I'm going with Trump. But Dave Smith, wonderful guy, got my full support. You know what I'm saying? I will always tell people, hey, if they say, is there any third party? Dave Smith, Mises, go take a look at him. Absolutely. But I love Mises. I love Mises, and I studied. I had to study when I wrote my book. Mises.org was a tremendous resource for me.
Yeah, have you read all of Human Action? I like can barely get through a couple pages at a time on
Human
that one.
Action, is that a book?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Love with Purpose. That's
yeah.
yep.
It's like his economy book, but it's very. You would probably fly through it. Obviously, I look like how I read pretty much. So
you know, I haven't. You know what's funny about me is I haven't read any Mises yet. All the Rothbard stuff, no Mises yet.
Yeah,
I'll get around to Mises.
I think Take Human Action is probably like one of the better ones because it's like the.
Yeah, you know the thing is when it comes to philosophical books, I try to stay away from those because I find that I'm gonna just read it and be like, "Oh, this is shit I've been saying."
Yeah,
you know, this is the way I think. So it's more like confirmation bias. So I like to look for the history and piece together things myself. So I go and I study the history. Give me the facts. I'll extrapolate my own philosophy based upon the facts. Because right now, I'm all about right now, specifically right now. I don't know what I'm gonna like in the future, but I'm in favor of a theocratic capitalist society. I think that's what I like so far. A theocratic monarchy. Theocratic capitalist monarchy. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know where I'll be in the future, but I think that's the best place to be.
You also know you can compete too. That's what the people who don't like capitalism, real capitalism, is because they know they fucking can't compete. Like, we get it.
Well, the people who say there's two types of people that say they don't like capitalism. One of them is the people who don't want to work for anything. Life is a little bit hard, and they're like, "Oh, everything should be given to me." And then the other group are basically capitalists disguised as socialists, looking to create more government barriers to destroy competition. We're seeing that now with FTX in the crypto community. BitBoy has this great rant. If you can find the BitBoy, we could probably leave on that note. Find the BitBoy rant. It should be on Twitter. Amazing rant. But basically, like, you got the guys who have all the like hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto. These guys are working with the government to create legislation. So BitBoy is basically saying that these guys are going to create legislation that benefits them. Yeah, hit this. Play this one right here.
It's me. I'm the one out here putting the work in behind the scenes, trying to save crypto, while these devils, Sam Bankman-Fried, Brian Armstrong, they're trying to permanently ruin it. This is not about money for me. I hope you guys understand this. I'm here fighting for you. It's me.
Oh, that's the remix. That's the remix.
This guy, with freaking glasses on, this douchebag is out.
That's funny though.
Amazing epic rant from BitBoy. But if you guys get a chance, watch that. And he's basically accusing like the founder of Coinbase and the founder of FTX of colluding with the government to create legislation, which is basically going to give them a monopoly. That's what BitBoy is. And the thing is, this isn't unprecedented. We saw this with the DuPont family. DuPont family had hemp outlawed. People were using hemp for all sorts of things around the house. You can even make plastic from hemp. And DuPont lobbied with the government, got hemp outlawed, and then they created this whole chemical conglomerate and monopoly.
Bombs.
Yeah, and that's how they came. So you got to remember, the best capitalists are socialists because they use the government to destroy competition.
Yep.
That's it.
And I was also going to say, you're also seeing that with like the climate agenda and the ESG. Some of the biggest people or entities supporting that stuff are the big corporations who already got the money and resources.
Correct.
Because they don't want the mom and pop competing with them.
Right. They want to price you out.
Yep.
Yeah. Not us though, because we're too smart, or we're gonna, circumvent.
We will win. We will win. The people will win. They always do. All throughout history, the people have always won.
That's true. Well, that's great. Why don't we leave it right on that? Thank you, Hotep, for coming on. This was awesome. It's always great listening to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for thinking of me. I invite everybody to visit my site, hotepjesus.com. Get on my email list at hotepjesus.com/sub, SUB. And I'll see y'all next time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye, hacks. Let me check.